So Jonathan Colby is the president and founder of the company, the consultancy named Stringwise Development. It is a consultancy focused on enabling the innovation and commercialization in renewable energies and aerospace industries. Also, Jonathan is actively involved in standards and certification topics, and that is through the International Electrotechnical Commission, the IEC, that probably many of you know. And he is currently the chair of the IEC TC114, which is the technical group working in marine energy. He is also the convener of the Marine Energy Sector Working Group under the IECRE, which is the other organization in this standardization roles, and some other international and national roles, because he is involved in many, many issues and he knows mostly everyone in the sector. Jonathan Colby was previously working in Verdant Power for more than 15 years, right? And many of you know probably this company, which is related to tidal energy, and it has been involved in many projects. For example, this project of the Roosevelt Island in New York. Yeah, I'm sure it will be a very, very useful seminar for many of us. And I invite all of you to prepare questions for the last part of the session, because I think that will be the more valuable part of it. So, Jonathan, whenever you like, the floor is yours.
Muchas gracias, Marcos, y gracias a todos. Me llamo Jonathan, yo hablo un poco español. Buenos días y buenas tardes a todos. So, as Marcos said, I will be speaking today about the IEC, which is the International Electrotechnical Commission, and I will be speaking about standards and certification for the marine energy industry. And I see some familiar faces on this line. So hello to those that I've met before, and greetings to those who I've not met before. It's my honor and pleasure to be here today. So, as Marcos reminded me, it's best to start with why. Why are we here? And what I would like to talk about today are the role of standards and certification and the important role they play in industry and in development. So these documents, either international standards or technical specifications, are consensus-based documents that are written with input from experts globally. These documents ensure that a common language is used within the industry and that best practices are applied in all the different areas of the industry. And these standards also enable a direct comparison of technologies in different parts of the world. So that's why a standard. Then certification is the third-party verification of compliance to standards. So this is where an independent organization confirms that a standard has been followed. Such a confirmation improves access to financing and insurance. That independent organization helps to verify and confirm that the standards have been followed. And this provides the highest level of confidence in the marketplace while reducing risk. Ultimately, these global certification systems reduce barriers to the global marketplace. And as we say, one standard, one test, one certificate. And so for an example, a developer in, let's say, Chile, because I see Natalie on the screen. So we have a developer in Chile could conduct a test in Chile, and the results of that test would be accepted in another market, for example, Spain. And so instead of having to retest a product to enter the Spanish market, a test in Chile would be recognized in Spain, making the transition to the global market much easier. So some of the logos you see, ISO is a very famous standards organization, but today we will talk about the IEC, which is the International Electrotechnical Commission, and we will talk about the IEC-RE, which is the Renewable Energy Certification Activities. So as Marcos said, the IEC is organized by Technical Committee. And Technical Committee 114 is dedicated to standards for marine energy. And this includes wave, tidal, and other water current converters. Today, we have more than 185 subject matter experts representing 29 countries. The work is divided into 18 groups where the individual standards are written by the subject matter experts. We have liaisons or connections with a number of groups in the world. This includes the solar industry, the wind energy industry, also with some international agencies. And I wanted to highlight one in particular, which is the Ocean Energy System of the International Energy Agency. Marcos shared with me that you have seen this document that was published recently, which is a collaboration between the Ocean Energy System, the IEC Technical Committee 114, and the IEC-RE certification activities. This document is titled Supporting Ocean Energy Technology Development and Commercialization, and it provides guidance for the coherent application of guidance documents, standards, and certification. What I would also like to encourage everyone here is to consider becoming involved in the International Energy Agency and the Ocean Energy System. I have some very close contacts with the OES, and as I've shared with Marcos, I will be happy to connect countries and experts with the Ocean Energy System to ensure that marine energy activities in Central and South America are captured in the annual report from the Ocean Energy System. So if you have any interest or questions regarding the OES, please feel free to include those in your questions for today's seminar. So the detailed work of our committee includes publishing technical specifications, and these are the first step before an international standard. So far, we have published 20 technical specifications, and I will go through those in detail next. We also have a number of documents that are working towards a second edition. We also work to align all of our standards to ensure they work together. And we have publicly available vocabulary for marine energy. Now, I will also share these slides after the meeting so that people can click on the links and can download the information and research more once the seminar is over. So the work of our group, oh good, Marcos, thank you for posting that in the chat, excellent. So the group is P members or participating members. And one of the reasons I am so excited to be here today is notice the gap in Central and South America. We have no countries represented as P members. Now, Milad, nice to see you, Milad, is working in Brazil currently to bring Brazil to the P member status. And so Brazil, we hope, will be our first participating member of TC 114. But you can see we have a very large gap in Central and South America. And I have been working closely with Chile, with Colombia, with Brazil, with Mexico, all to increase the participation of our Latin American experts. So again, I'm very happy to be here today to present to all of you. We also have what are called observing members or O members. And here you can see our only member from Central or South America. And again, that's Brazil. As I mentioned, Milad is working to increase the Brazilian participation, and we're very excited to see that increased participation. But I hope after today's seminar that other countries in the region will continue to work with me and to work together to join TC 114 and to contribute your expertise to the development of marine energy standards. So here are the specific standards that we write for marine energy. And so these standards I show are independent of the resource. So they hold true for wave, or for tidal, or for river, or for ocean thermal. So for any technology, these standards are useful and relevant. You can see things like design, measurement of loads, moorings, power quality, acoustic characterization, so the measurement of noise from these turbines. And then our newest item is on biofouling, or the accumulation of algae, barnacles, mussels, etc., and the role that that plays in loads or a reduction in performance. So if any of these areas are of interest to you, your colleagues, your organization, I would ask to consider joining and contributing your expertise in these technical areas. Now here we have the standards that are specific to the resource. So you can see we have a set of standards that are just for wave energy. So if your organization, your company, your university is researching wave energy, here are some standards and areas where we are looking for expertise. If you are interested in tidal energy, there are certain standards that relate to tidal energy. And similarly, we have standards that are specific for river energy. And I know that in many South American and Central American countries, river energy is quite an area of interest. And so this would be an area where we would look for your expertise and your contribution on our technical committee. So with that, I'd like to switch to the certification activities. Again, certification is the term for an independent third party verifying compliance to the standards that we've just described. This third-party verification improves market access and supports the commercialization of our marine energy industry. And so to accomplish this certification, we established a system called the IEC RE. And the RE stands for renewable energy. And so here we've combined marine energy with solar and wind energy to leverage all of the global renewable energy activities into a single effort. In the marine sector, we have 7 countries that are working to develop certificates for marine energy devices. The main participants are what we call the certification bodies, and we'll talk more about this, the test labs, and the inspection bodies. And so these are the third parties that provide the verification that I've mentioned. And so here, as we look, are the 7 countries that are involved. We have the United States in North America. We have Great Britain, Belgium, Italy, the Netherlands, and France in Europe, and in Asia, Japan. And so again, we have a major gap with you, our colleagues in Central and South America. And so I'm very happy to be here to share all of this activity with the REMAR network. Now, if we look at who those bodies, who is participating, you see here the test labs and certification bodies that are participating in certification. And I trust that many of these organizations are familiar to you. In Great Britain, perhaps the most famous test laboratory in the world is EMEC, or the European Marine Energy Center. In the United States, we have PacWave, which is a very large wave test facility that is being built off the Pacific coast. We also have the Southeast National Marine Energy Center, which many of you may be familiar with. We also have NREL, or the National Renewable Energy Laboratory, which some of you may be familiar with. In the UK, we also have the FlowWave test facility in Edinburgh and the FastBlade test facility, also at the University of Edinburgh. And in France, we have 2 premier test facilities, one known as IFREMER and the other CINEO. So for those familiar with testing globally, these are the test laboratories that are participating. When we look at the certification bodies, again, some of the world's most famous certification bodies are involved. Those include DNV GL in the United Kingdom, along with Lloyd's Register. In France, we have Bureau Veritas. In Japan, we have Class NK. And in the United States, we have ABS, or the American Bureau of Shipping. And so those certification bodies provide the certificates, while the test laboratories issue what we call test reports. These are the fundamental pieces of third-party compliance to the standards that I mentioned. And I hope this shows the global relevance and the key market participants that we have involved. But again, we have a huge gap with all of you in the REMAR network, with an absence of our Central and South American colleagues supporting this important work. So now I wanted to show a bit of a technical example to see how standards and certification work together. And what I show here is the path for a technology to achieve a type certificate. And here you see all of the steps that are required for a device to reach a type certificate. A type certificate is a very common tool used in other industries, wind energy as one example, where a device receives a type certificate that means it has been verified from design, through manufacturing, through testing, and eventually to installation. And this type certificate gives insurance, investors, and the government confidence that the device will behave as designed and will behave and operate safely for both people and the grid. And so if we look at this path to a type certificate, we can map the individual standards from TC 114 onto the certification path. So at the early stages during technology qualification, we can apply common vocabulary along with the technology qualification standard to ensure that this early stage is satisfied. As we move into the design basis, we can use the results from scale testing or testing at early stage development to help design and help establish the basis for our design. Then when you move to the exact design of the turbine, we can use the design standard and the standards for moorings, or in the case of an ocean thermal device, we can use the OTEC standard to help establish the design. As we move into the testing phase, we have a test standard for the mechanical measurement of loads. We have a test standard for the power performance of wave or tidal or river. And in some areas, we must test the power quality or the acoustics. And so I hope this is useful to see that the standards that are written map through the entire process of a device receiving a certificate. And so this is the important role that the standards play in ensuring that devices can be certified, again, giving confidence to the insurance, to the investment, and to the government that these devices can operate safely and efficiently at a large scale, providing meaningful energy to meet the grid, to meet rural communities, to remove diesel, for example, from the energy mix, and to meet some of the renewable energy targets that countries and regions have. So I hope this is a useful picture of how standards meet with certification to provide confidence in the marketplace for technologies. Now, as Marcos said in his introduction, I want to give you all some tangible points of contact and mechanisms for how to engage with the IEC community in marine energy. So the first thing I wanted to share is that the IEC has an office called the Latin American Regional Center. This office is located in Sao Paulo. I have connected, I know multiple people on this phone call with Mr. Amaury Santos, who is the regional director of the Latin American Regional Center. Maybe Milad can share by chat or in his comments. Milad has had quite a bit of interaction with Amaury in the last month or two. And I hope and believe that Amaury was quite a good resource for Milad as he brought Brazil into additional contact with the IEC. So for anyone here that's interested, I would strongly encourage you to reach out to Mr. Amaury Santos at the Latin American Regional Center. Now, if we look at a country-by-country basis, Marcos shared with me some of the countries that we expect to join today. And so there are many more, and I will show them one by one. But for example, Argentina actually joined the IEC in 1913. So Argentina has been involved in the work of the IEC for 110 years. Their organization is through the Asociación Electrotecnica Argentina, with the president and secretary shown. They are not currently a member of TC 114. In Brazil, Milad has been working closely with some of these members. You can see Brazil has been involved for more than 70 years in the IEC. In Chile, Natalie, we have introduced her to some of these experts, and we have the Corporación Chilena de Normalización Electrotécnica, and we're working together with Natalie to connect her with the correct people in Chile to continue participating. In Colombia, I have the pleasure of knowing Mrs. Lina Pulgarin quite well. And I have established a meeting in February with some of the key experts in Colombia with Lina. In Mexico, I've been working with Rodolfo, and I'm not sure if we have Rodolfo on with us today, but if you're here, Rodolfo, welcome. I've connected him with some of the key leadership in Mexico. In Peru, we also have some activity and connections. I have yet to meet my Peruvian colleagues, but if anyone is here from Peru and is interested, here are some of the points of contact, and I would be happy to make an introduction. Then we also in the IEC have what's known as the affiliate program. And so 2 of our REMAR network members are a part of the affiliate program, both Costa Rica and Uruguay. So I provide some information here for our colleagues in Costa Rica and Uruguay. If you're interested in connecting directly, please let me know, and I'll be happy to facilitate additional introductions with these experts and organizations in these countries. So with that, I would like to thank you all for the time today. My personal email for my business is shown here. I would be happy to have individuals contact me by email. Marcos has additional contact information for me. I am currently based in Madrid, Spain. So I am a neighbor of Marcos. We had the pleasure of having lunch together recently, and he gave me a very nice tour of the CIMAT facilities here in Madrid. For anyone that's doing exchanges, if you are coming to Spain, I would be happy to meet with you. I had the pleasure of meeting with Milad in Madrid, and that was very nice. I do see one question in the chat. Yes, we will certainly share the PowerPoint presentation with everyone after the meeting. And so Marcos, I hope that was effective and useful. Again, I encourage all of you to connect with the International Energy Agency and their ocean energy system. I will be happy to make introductions. Again, I have many contacts in that organization. And then hopefully through my presentation, you have seen the value of joining the work of the IEC. And hopefully some of these connections can be people that you contact, reach out to. And if I can help facilitate an introduction, please let me know. I would be happy to make the introduction and to advocate on your behalf to become members of the TC 114 community. So muchas gracias y Marcos.
Muchas gracias, Jonathan, de verdad, por la presentación. Creo que ha sido muy útil para todos. Y let me switch into English again a little bit. And I think most that many people know, because under those words that Jonathan said, there are many things we can take advantage of. So thanks for that. Y ahora me gustaría sobre todo dejar el espacio para que la gente de la red haga preguntas y resuelva sus curiosidades, haga sus comentarios. Yo tengo alguna por ahí, pero prefiero que la gente nos pregunte. Así que abrimos un turno de debate. Por favor, si alguien quiere hacer alguna consulta, nos levanta la mano, interviene.
And while people are considering their questions, I see Andres has a question. Please, Andres, por favor.
Hi, Jonathan, how are you? Thank you very much for your presentation. And I don't know, maybe Mateo has his hands also up, maybe could be similar questions. And we are following during several years the development of waves energy and currents, tidal energy. And so we understand more or less that the standards or electrical standards or process of certification for this kind of technology is going all the development, because during the last 20 years, it was to develop the test cases and the industry. However, in the case of the less maturity technology, that the technology that we are trying to push it is the case of salinity gradient energy or even thermal gradient. There is the source is very different, and so the way that we transform the source of energy into electrical energy is very different. And so I would like to know from your perspective, what do you think that should be the next steps in order to standardize this kind of application or technology? And the question is directly because in the case of Colombia, and maybe Mateo could be open the window about this topic, we will have in approximately 1 year or two a pilot plan of salinity gradient energy, and it could be the first pilot plan in South America, in Central South America of this technology. And we are trying to some cooperation with Europe, with Holland people, and even with Norway. But we understand that they are very hermetic and very working inside of their technology, but we don't know really how we'll face the standards, because of course in this level we are expect to produce some kind of minimum energy just to prototype or to demonstration project. But for us, it's important to start to think in this topic, because when we are trying to face this discussion with the industry, they have these questions, and so we don't know what to answer them, you know. And so, but this is my general questions in this topic.
Please, it's a very good question. Thank you, Andres. Thank you very much. So first, the easy part. For the ocean thermal energy, we do have a standard. So if there is work on thermal gradients, I would encourage you to take a look at the standard here, and hopefully that can help with the thermal gradients. Now, the salinity gradient is a much more interesting question. So the first standard I would call your attention to is this standard called technology qualification. And this is a standard that is designed for novel or new technologies that have not been demonstrated in the marketplace yet. And it is a process for assessing the risk of new technologies and identifying how to reduce the risk and how to design safely new technologies. So this technology qualification standard can be used for the design and testing of a salinity gradient system. Then the scope of our committee includes salinity gradient. However, we do not have a standard yet developed. So I would invite you to consider maybe Colombia could help put forward a proposal to write the first salinity gradient standard. And I know that RedStack is the company in the Netherlands that is doing salinity gradient. I've been to their facility and have seen the operation. And so maybe we could bring expertise from the Netherlands, Norway, Colombia, the United States, and this could be a pathway for Colombia to engage with our technical committee, and we could write the first standard for salinity gradient. So it's very exciting that your project is coming online. And I think that could be a perfect path to increase the involvement and have a way for Colombia to connect with our group.
Thank you, Jonathan.
Sí. Y Mateo, por favor.
Hello, Jonathan. Greetings again from Colombia. I also work in salinity gradient energy. Thank you very much for what you have said about what could be our role in this IEC. I also want to mention that I see there are some standards to resource assessment. So not only in the perspective of technology, but also in salinity gradient energy, we have expertise assessing the resource, not only in the local spectrum, but in the planet spectrum. So and some of the papers published here are the most cited in the literature about resource assessment. So we can also impulse that part regarding integrated energy. Another comment about this, and back again to the technology, is that there is a company also in France who is going to deploy a 1 megawatt plant in solid integrated energy in the Rhone River. The name is Switch Energy. We also have contact with them. We have contact with them, with RedStack. So we are really interested in this part of. Well,
this is very exciting because France, the Netherlands, Norway are all members of the TC 114 already. So they will be able to contribute the experts quite easily. And so I ask, please, could you email me, or maybe Marcos, could I have a list of all of the members with email addresses or something? Because I am literally meeting with the president of the Colombian National Committee in like 2 weeks. And so I would love to have examples such as you, Mateo and Andres, of the work you're doing to help the leadership of Colombia understand that there is interest, there are experts, and that it's necessary that Colombia contribute and get involved. It's very important for me.
Okay, fabulous.
I will send you the list of everybody.
Wonderful. This is so exciting for me. It's very exciting. And we another hand up. Is this?
Yeah. I'm sorry. I have another comment. I'm sorry. It's about OES. How to join as a country to the OES.
Yes. So Marcos and I had a discussion about this. There is a process to join where the government needs to arrange a connection with the OES. And Marcos, do you have that link that I sent you by email, or should I maybe pull that link and put it in the chat? While he's finding that link, that might be the easiest. I can tell you, I am also meeting with the chair of the OES in the next week. And so I was going to offer to share with him the interest from the Latin American countries to contribute to the OES. And I would offer to you, Mateo, and others to make the introductions to the OES leadership so that you can start to understand and work to join the ocean energy system. I would be happy to make those introductions.
Thank you very much. I know we all are very interested in this part.
Excellent. Okay. Yeah, I'll do my best. All right,
Rodrigo Rojas from Costa Rica.
Hola, Rodrigo. Buenos días.
Hi, Jonathan. How are you? Nice to meet you. Yes, as said, Marcos, my name is Rodrigo. I'm representing Costa Rican Electricity Institute. I'm not sure if I have questions. Maybe could be a kind of a comments. First, Jonathan, I would like to have another meeting with you in order to introduce the new players who are playing in the offshore development energy in Costa Rica. In TECO, of course, in TECO, there is a contact point for technical standards in Costa Rica. However, there is no exactly the person to discuss about offshore energy. And so I would like to discuss who is the right person to follow up next conversation for the Costa Rican offshore development. All right, Jonathan?
Great, please.
The second is I would like we would like to discuss how we can connect regarding the value change of offshore offshore energy, offshore wind energy. My question is how we can connect these technical standards with the planning phase, Jonathan? This is possible?
Yes, it is possible. And the committee that works on offshore wind is called TC88. So mine is 114, which is marine hours. TC88, 88, is wind energy. And I would be happy to introduce you to the chair of TC88 to enable a transfer of knowledge for how the wind offshore standards can be used in Costa Rica.
All right.
Very happy to.
Sure. And the last comment is, we are really interested to know what is the technical standards for facilities. In Costa Rica, we have two main facilities to prove equipment for offshore energy development. And so we would like to discuss with you what is the standards, the international standard applying on that. Okay, Jonathan?
Yeah, and are these laboratory facilities, I assume, like testing, for testing facilities?
We have two.
Good. So I would be happy to give you the list of test standards for marine energy.
Thank you very much, Jonathan. We will keep in touch through Marco's connection.
Please, please, please. Thank you very much, Rodrigo. Sí. Muchas gracias, Rodrigo. Milad, ¿qué tal? ¿Qué pasó, Milad?
Hi. Hi, everyone. Hi, Jonathan. Thank you so much for your nice presentation. To clearly explain the role and the importance of the IEC in this sector, the ocean renewable energy. I have some updates about the Mirror Commission here in Brazil that work on TC 114. We already established the group, so the first official meeting of our group is going to be in the second week of February. So we have a participation actually of the Petrobras, of another oil and gas company, big company. We have participation of the Brazilian Energy Office, which is part of the Ministry of Energy, and it's responsible for the short time, mid-term, and long-term energy planning of the Brazil, and responsible for producing roadmaps for different sources and different energy. So it's important to have a support of the Brazilian Energy Office, and actually different universities, including the Professor Osvaldo as well. He is the coordinator of the INOF, and is a part of the REMAR network. Anyway, so this is the good news, and we are excited to progress for being a P member at IEC, to actually be more active and participate more actively in the activities of the IEC. And about the testing facilities, we have a participation as well. A big wave basin, it's the second deepest in the world. And it has the possibility of creating wave, current, wind. It's a wave basin with a dimension of 30 meters per 40 meters with a depth of 25 meters. This is huge.
Wow.
And we are excited actually to present this test facilities and start to work with IEC, because we have some projects for the next 5 years that include the technology tests and the smaller scale and medium scale tests in this facility. So we would like to know actually how we can certify tests, and actually anyway, if we could contribute to the IEC by through the activities of this test facility as well. anyway, we're
Amazing,
very happy.
Milad. Congratulations. Congratulations.
Thank you so much, Jonathan, for your support. You encourage us to be the P member and to actually establish this study commission here. And I'm talking to the participant of the REMAR member. Please feel free to contact me if you want to talk to Mr. Amauri, which is responsible for Latin America, IEC Latin America. I can keep in touch with Amauri and contact you anyway to talk about the possibilities. So please feel free to talk to me. We recently published a paper with the participation of more than 16 researchers that are participating in this meeting. So we already have established our connections. I think. Okay. So just feel free to contact. Okay.
Wonderful. Thank you, Milad. Thank you for the great news. Congratulations. Okay, maybe now, Natalie. How are you today, Natalie? Nice to see you.
Hello, Jonathan. Nice to see you too. Thanks for your presentations. So we are
Very
here also
nice.
from Chile, trying to put forward again this effort to participate again or to retake the topic of the standards in Chile and how we can introduce. So we are on that. And just I would like to ask you, well, I'm already aware about more or less how this work has to keep going, but for the rest of the REMAR network, it could be good to understand or to have a dimension of what it means to be a observer member or a participant member. Maybe that could be, maybe you can tell us more about what it means to be one of that type of participants, the timings, the efforts.
Yeah, that's a very good idea. Thank you, Natalie, for that prompt. So that's right. As Natalie said, there are two methods to participate. One is called a participating member, and the other is called an observing member. So as Natalie sort of said, there are differences in those two categories. And I'll start here. Observing member is the least time required. In this case, it is more of a passive role. So you are listening, you are receiving the documents, you are reviewing the documents, but you are mostly observing the work of the technical committee and learning about the work. Then, when you are ready, we would encourage and ask that you consider a participating member. And in this case, there are more requirements and expectations of the country. This includes nominating experts to participate in the active work of the technical committee. It includes voting on all of the documents that are required of vote. And it includes attending the annual face-to-face meeting each year. So when you become a participating member, there are more requirements and more responsibilities of a national committee. And again, those include nominating experts, voting on all documents, and attending all of the meetings face-to-face. An observer is allowed to provide comments, is allowed to participate, but it is not required. So the observing is less time, less requirement. The participating is more time, more active participation, and more requirements. So often we suggest that a country consider starting as an O or observing member so they can learn, they can understand. And then as Milad has just explained, in general, you need to form a mirror committee within your country. And that mirror committee is a much more formal group that directly participates in the work of TC 114. And then when you are ready for that, you would move to a participating member of the technical committee. I will note that Marcos and Spain are participating members. In Spain, the organization is UNE, which has their headquarters in Madrid. UNE is the secretary, if you will, of a very formal group that has membership from all of the Spanish industry, and they contribute, they nominate experts. And in fact, 1 year, Spain hosted all of the TC 114 members at one of the universities in Madrid. So Natalie, I hope that's kind of what you were thinking about, explaining to people the difference of an observer versus a participator.
Yes, thank you.
Good, and Natalie, we can't wait to have Chile involved. We can't wait. We can't wait.
We are try our best.
I know you are.
Jonathan, a question related to this issue is from Alejandro in the chat, who asks about the cost of this participating.
Okay, so Alejandro, buenos dias. The cost depends on your country. So each country decides how to handle financing of participation. In the United States, for example, each person must pay around $300 American to participate. In other countries, it can be more expensive than that. And in some countries like Germany, it is free. So with apologies, there is not one single answer to that question. And it is unique within each country how they manage and establish the fees and costs to participate. So I don't know if Milad or Natalie, what is the cost in Chile? Have you discovered what a cost would be in Chile, Natalie, yet?
Well, the secretary that managed the work here, that is Cornelec, it has different fees for different type of companies. So it's also very variable. And this year we are trying to figure out also how much it costs, because it will depend on a company or for a foundation. So
or
this
a university.
Year we will have to figure out again, or a university, yeah.
And maybe Milad, if I may ask, what is the fee like in Brazil for this? Have you identified the cost?
About the cost of the, I'm not sure, because I just started. I don't have any specific information about the cost. But here we have an institution. It's a national institution for the norms and standards, Brazilian National Institution for Norms and Standards, that the IEC is collaborating with this institution. So it's unfortunately, I don't have any idea about the exact cost, but I know that there should be a national institution to be linked with the IEC and be responsible for to coordinate actually different technical committees in the country. It's something governmental, you know, to be actually, you know better actually. I'm just saying to Alejandro, maybe in Argentina, maybe an institution that is responsible for the standards, and maybe it should be involved in this activity.
Yeah, so, and Milad, I was going to say the same thing. Thank you, and thank you, Natalie, for your perspective. So Alejandro, if you'd like, I would be happy to introduce you to either Amaury Santos with the Latin Regional Center or with some of the folks within the AEA. And they, I'm sure, would be able to support sharing how much it costs and what are the processes to be involved.
Actually, just to compliment Jonathan, if a country is an all member, I think there is no cost involved. I believe all member, but for the P member, maybe some participation in international meetings and some travel.
Yeah, that's true.
And that stuff
that's
maybe.
Also true.
But for all member, I believe that only volunteers to work on the norms and standards, but for team member are costable, of course.
That's true. And Alejandro, for your information, those costs are on individuals. So if you wanted to travel to a meeting, it would be up to your organization and your group to find the budget for that. So there is no funding available to support the travel. So that is one area where the cost is up to the individual expert. But many of the meetings have a hybrid option. So you can dial in, you can work remotely, you can exchange information by email. So we try to make it as accessible as possible and not too expensive for the membership to participate.
Okay, thanks, Jonathan.
See. Just keep in touch, Alejandro. If there's anything I can do, just please let me know.
Okay. I'm working in university, government university, so we don't have funds to these activities.
Of course. Luckily, as what Natalie said, and oftentimes universities and foundations have the lowest dues, sometimes even zero. So it's worth making an introduction and learning the particular situation in Argentina, and we will see what it is.
Okay. Thanks, Jonathan.
My pleasure. Thank you. Okay, Marcos, and we have a very nice comment in the chat from Rodrigo, I think, with a bit of experience in his OES.
Yeah, that maybe Rodrigo, do you want to make some comment related to that?
No, not really.
No, it was just an announcement.
Just to support the Natalie comment in the sense that we prove what is OES. It's an excellent institution. We learn about, we know many people around the world. So I recommend 100% to try to become a new member. We are trying to, Jonathan, we are insisting with my colleagues from local government, national government, to be part of the OES. We try to do that in this year, Jonathan.
Great, excellent. Please let me know if I can help, please.
Sure.
Yeah, I think just trying to summarize a little bit the ideas. I think it is already demonstrated that there's a huge potential in being part of these groups, these working groups, these technical committees, because as you saw in Jonathan's presentation, there's a lot of information we can get, just starting with the vocabulary, the way we must name the things related to our issues, and also how to do the assessment of a resource, because it's really important to put in the same frame, in the same language, the information we get, technical and commercial information. There is another important issue related to the testing facilities. There is something we are doing in the network, which is we are compiling a map, and I will share with you, Jonathan, you will love that, with all the experimental facilities being prepared in the network in the Central and South America. And I think it is really important to know what are the rules to run those facilities, and that the same standards that the rest of the world do. This is absolutely essential. And also when we are thinking in doing a design of a prototype, Jonathan also mentioned this pre-prototyping device testing standards, all these kind of things, and also related to our the integration of marine energies in electric networks. There's a standards focus on power quality, This is something important we have to consider when integrating in electric grids this kind of energies. And this is already done. So my advice and my suggestion is we should contact these people and trying to be at least observing parts at the first stage, as Jonathan was suggesting, just being there just to look what's going on, if it's something useful for us, and then we will see. So yeah, I think, and as Jonathan also said, there's a big gap where South America and Central America is not there. And here there is an opportunity to be part of these groups. I think there's not a big work. It's just a little bit, but the benefits could be huge. So my encourage to all of you to be part of this through Jonathan or me or whoever could do something.
And I am here to help. My job as the chair is to help you. So whatever I can do to help you, make introductions, advocate for you, make sure that I'm speaking for you and helping you, that is my job. So I'm very excited to meet all of you. Marcos, I'm grateful for the opportunity you've given me to present to this network. And I hope that I can help all of you increase your connection to the global energy market for marine energy in particular. I'm very grateful. Thank you, Marcos.
Yeah, thank you, Jonathan. So if you don't have any other advice or adding thing, we can.
No, just please do not hesitate to email me, please. My email is here. You can find me on LinkedIn. Please keep in touch and just let me know how I can help. Anything you need, I'm here for you. I am
very kind, Jonathan, very kind. Okay, any other question, further comments? So just thank you again, Jonathan, for your seminar at your time and your ideas. And I hope this is just the starting point for many things.
Exactly.
We will invite you to other activities related to the network. Please, please.
It was very nice to be with all of you, and I look forward to working together and to getting to know all of you in the coming months and years ahead of us.